All right. It's Super Bowl week. Everybody's getting prepared. Pundits are giving their opinions. Players are training, hitting it hard, getting ready for the biggest game of their life. We're going to break it down for you. Want to thank you for joining us. This FTB Sports Through the Table. Hello and welcome everybody. Joining us again. I'm Donnie Shoemaker to my left. Regular co-hosts with me, Renee down there, bottom left or bottom right on the screen, left to me. Renee, how are you?
I'm alright.
Awesome. Donnie, you mate?
Oh, I'm ecstatic.
Oh,
What's with the just all right?
right. And then underneath me, for the first time, joining us from across the pond, he has Ace Jordan show. You can catch that during the year. He has a watch along with Red Zone, man. The best thing in the world. Now you don't have to watch and listen to them. You can just watch Ace bring it all to you. Ace, how are
Yeah.
you, man?
Yo, big respect, Britt. Thank you very much for that, man. I love that intro. Thank you very much. Yep, obviously love our red zone. Gutted that we're going to be going into the last game of the season, but let's bring it on, man. Super Bowl weekend. Let's go.
Right. Speaking of that, we're here. The culmination of what everybody has worked so hard for and what they every team dreams. Now we're down to two teams left. And Super Bowl being held this year in brand new built SoFi Stadium.
Woo.
Beautiful, beautiful place. Why not have the biggest game in the world? It's been a long road. The road's been very interesting. Ace, what has since brought? I know you didn't do the whole year, but like, what have you seen out of the NFL this year, man? What's been your feelings and thoughts on what you saw?
Well, to be honest, Britt, I'm a huge fan for like 15 years, but I would say the last 8 or 9 years since I really come out of soccer's where the NFL's really taken over and just gripped me with its passion. Um, I think the NFL has changed so much in the last 15, 20 years, perhaps than it ever did. We've got the most athletic guys playing, in the world, playing this game now. Schematically, it's just unbelievable. So it just grips me from that side, to be honest. I've got a lot of coaching background, so there's no better tactical game than the NFL. So that's where I'd like to start. In terms of the NFL this season in 2022, I think it surpassed the year before. I mean, what a great year we had, but obviously with all the COVID stuff and all the empty stadiums, it's so difficult to get that feeling, that passion when you're watching empty stadiums. So to see the
Hmm.
NFL back popping, all the grounds back full, they've done a great. I think that what they've done very well this year is not just in the UK, but obviously with the announcement of the Munich game today and stuff. They're doing very well getting the game out there all across the world on different platforms, and I think it's just very appealing. So for any neutrals out there, I think they're picking up a lot of momentum this season. I think in terms of the 2022 season, Britt, I think we've seen the return of the running game. So I think we've seen a lot of defenses play a lot of cover two, making a lot of teams play patient, trying to take away the high octane offense and the passing game. So I think you've seen more emphasis this year on running backs. So we know going into this year's draft, it's going to be not very quarterback heavy. So what I hope to see is a lot of emphasis on linemen and running backs because I think we've seen a lot of cover two in 2022.
No, I that very very good. I had that same observation because you even look at the defensive lines. There's not one setup, one lineup. They are constant. Good teams, the elite
Right.
teams, are constantly rotating in those defensive linemen. Why? Because, like you said, man, they're chasing quarterbacks around a lot more,
Yeah.
and they're running. They're having to run down running backs a lot
Right.
more now. Just
Right.
not rush the quarterback every time. You're running, chasing very fast people.
Right.
Renee, uh, being with your team's allegiance. I know this year you have a very special perspective on how you felt about this season. But what you seen? How have you enjoyed the NFL this year as a whole? And I know it's overshined by the greatness of your team.
I think I threw up in my mouth a little bit with that statement. So, um, honestly, it's kind of nice to see, not so many rushing quarterbacks to the game. It seems to have balanced itself back out. I mean, every few years we get the running quarterbacks, the hybrids, and then this year we've gotten to see really good pocket passers. Really good. You see how it tests those defensive men out. Like
Right.
we've seen people who are washed up or has-beens thrive in respect, not just Von Miller, but we've seen other. We brought Waddle out of retirement. Other people who are just older, freaking actually thriving and being made to look like they still have a few years left, which is kind of nice.
That Weddle's a good shout. Yeah, like you
Yeah, it
almost
was a good
forgot
shout.
him. And
Retired for 2 years, and they go,
yeah,
"Hey, you want to come back and win a Super Bowl?"
yeah, we were
Yes,
we were
I do.
watching the game, and it was the Rams game, one of the few that I got to see because of my schedule. I mean, out like live, and because now I have the sound on when I'm watching it live, and then there's Weddle. I'm like, wait, Eric Weddle? Like,
Yeah.
are you kidding
Are
me?
you kidding me, right?
And it's like, yep, that was him. I'm like, wow,
What a
amazing. And
legend.
everybody wants to get all over Tom Brady for doing it. He ain't the only
Trust
one.
me.
Screw Tom Brady.
Fuck
Uh,
Tom Brady.
Donnie, my friend.
Well, they
What?
pretty much mentioned it. What I was going to say is, like they talked about, as the caliber of a quarterback. We're moving back to the running game, and so that really progresses your team. You've seen, like she said, these quarterbacks sitting back in the pocket. Yeah, they can move on their feet, but we've seen what happens with quarterbacks that are fast movers. They get beat up and then they're out. And so, to progress in your game, not everybody's Joe Burrow. They're going to need time to sit there and learn how to play in the style of the NFL player. I mean, you're great coming out of college, but it is a different level when you have a 35-year-old dude who weighs almost 300 pounds smashing into you, So it is good to see that. And like we said, I love wide receivers, but you cannot win a game if your running back is not moving. The running game is the key to success. So like I said, it is good to see that. Because with
Definitely.
that comes longevity, right? So we're going to really get to see these players year in and year out. And I really do think, these new cats that are coming in, they are going to run this league for the next, decade. I mean, NFC, yeah, but the AFC is going to kill it. They're going to crush it.
I think what's going to happen is we're going to see a typical AFC, NFC. AFC is going to have the quarterbacks, and the NFC is going to have the defense.
That's a great shout.
I think honestly, I mean, statistically, the NFC is better at defense, where the AFC is better at offense, which is going to be good in the long run. You're going to see a bunch of good games. I think, but so like teams like the Niners, the Rams, a lot of teams in the NFC West, or even just the North, how strong these defenses are, strong run defense. And not only can they defend the run, they can shut down the passing game too, and make you have to work for it. So it's going to be interesting to see this in the next 10 years, if not more.
No, I totally. And this new crop of kids, it's not like the old days where, they brought you in from college and you got to sit down and you got to learn and you wait. Some of these kids, they're thrown into the fire on day one, and your second, third year is going to define your career. It's straight away, right? And like, credit to these colleges who are pumping out these kids. A lot, the really good ones, they are ready for
Guys,
the NFL.
do you think that's got a lot to do with a bit of a hybrid in systems where we've got some college programs now are running like huddles? Do you know what I mean? And they're running like NFL style offenses. And then we're getting NFL offenses now that are running sort of like the college game as well. So I think we've got this type of mesh going on at the moment where the players seem more prepared to come in the systems.
No,
Definitely.
yeah, that's a very, very good point because they used to be so separate. like
Yeah.
the college game was
Was
miles
one.
different
Yeah.
Yeah.
than like in today's game. There might be a slight possibility. I didn't like him. I didn't think he was great, but there's a slight possibility if a guy like Tim Tebow was coming in now, he might have been more prepared for the NFL than say when he did come in,
Did
because
he win a championship?
he won one
What?
playoff
Yeah.
game on a busted coverage.
Okay. Okay. I think that has to do with like the capital though that's going into the college ball, right? Because these players are
Right.
getting paid now, so
Yeah,
the
they know.
systems that these schools are making are going to be more linked to these teams because these teams are going to be able to fund these colleges, right? Secretly,
Right.
whatever, and so they're going to be able to have a better recruitment, and so they need to learn how to play like
Yeah.
that sooner
No,
and
I
progress
definitely,
faster.
exactly. I definitely think the college and pro programs are working together
Yeah, they're
more
meshing together.
closely
Mm.
than what I've seen. And because you look a lot of your top tier college football programs, they are ran like an NFL team. You can just go down the list of even this year
Yeah.
of
And it's-
players who are in the NFL. Just look at what schools they come from. There's a lot from just a few different schools. And you don't want to
Right.
why? Because top high school athletes, they want to go to a college that's going to prepare them for the NFL.
In some
And-
cases, they're better run than some of the organisations. Like we see some of the controversy, say like at the Lions and the Jaguars and teams like this, right? And then you look at some, and no, it's true though, right, Renee? And then you look at some of the college
know.
programs and they blow them out the water.
Yeah.
Oh, don't be named after a cat.
All the Commanders, boy, but that's
Oh
what she
god!
is,
Oh, the commies.
The
The
yeah,
commies.
Bad
I was
name.
like, oh my god.
They're all right.
Somehow the Washington football team is a better name, right?
Yeah,
Honestly,
that
they
was
should have
it.
just left it.
My days.
They should have just left it alone, man.
Right? I mean, we're football fans anyway. We're used to seeing like football club or football team
Yeah.
or whatever. We're
Right.
used to seeing
It's
that
used to
instead
seeing
of the
that.
mascot.
Yeah, I didn't think
Keep it
anything
that
of it. I was
way.
just like, all right.
Yeah, neither did I. It's like, oh, Washington football team. Okay, cool. And then they come out with their name. I'm like, huh?
They go,
Come
go
on, I'm still gonna
commando,
call
go
you-
commies. I'm like, fuck.
I'm gonna
bad.
still call you that Washington football team.
We are commanders. Dun, 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 dun. Have you heard that? Oh my
Oh my
days.
god.
Oh,
I
my
know.
goodness.
I know.
So,
Oh my god. Jesus Christ.
representing the NFC in SoFi Stadium, getting to host it after hosting their NFC Championship game, we got the LA Rams.
Baby.
This is a team for me that I've really enjoyed watching this year. I was very,
Hell
very
yeah.
excited at the beginning of the
Yeah.
year coming up for this team. I had this team picked for the championship game because I'm a hater, so I didn't have Tampa Bay in the NFC Championship game against
Whoops, sorry
Green
about
Bay.
that.
I had the Rams, which was the right call. Very exciting team. Was excited to see Matthew Stafford coming in, a proper quarterback. It let me know, hey, the Rams are looking. They're going to win now. They're built to win now. So if there's going to be a team you watch closest, then your Buffalo Bills. When you're not watching the Bills, make sure you check out these Rams. It's going to be very exciting football. Did not disappoint. I wasn't even a fan, and I was cringing through certain parts of their season. Like, pull it together, boys.
Hey, how do you think the hell I felt?
Yeah, since that, we'll start with the Ram fan, the one that makes this Rams house. How have you liked the Rams this year?
Oh, I have absolutely adored and loved this team. I think they have a very, very good mentality. Obviously that's coming a lot from McVay. Very positive, very strong. You know, I mean, yeah, that 3-game slide, that was. Oof. I was even starting to question, see where we were going to land in the playoffs, and I was like, well, that's the last thing we need to do is play a bunch of games. Obviously, thankfully, avoided most of that. Thank you, Arizona, for fucking up. and losing on the last day. Also, I like the absolute disrespect and hate that we're getting right now. Everybody was, when we traded off our first and second round draft picks, got OBJ, got, everything started coming in, Von Miller, everything. And then all of a sudden we're starting to do better and we're in the Super Bowl. And everyone's like, oh, now you're a super team. And they want to complain about it. And it's like, well, fuck us for wanting to do better. We want to win now. Like you said, we want to win now. We're not here to win in 2 years. We're here to win now and then continue that from then on. I think honestly, the way this team is built, like I wouldn't be surprised in the next couple years we're back again. I think we're actually probably the best that we've looked in over since we won the last Super Bowl. I don't even think we were good enough to win the 0-2 Super Bowl where Vinatieri kicked that last minute field goal. I think we honestly have a shot to be a dominant, strong team from now on. I just think we're going to give Green Bay a run for their money. We're going to give Tampa a run for their money, much like we did this year. I think it's going to be a consistent thing. I mean, the season's been awesome in the grand scheme of things for the Rams. I think it's been a very successful and very productive season.
Yeah, Donnie, fantasy football player that you are. We've always been on this Cooper Kupp, man. If you can get you a hold of Cooper Kupp.
I know. Did I read this wrong?
Yeah.
Did he only get the Offensive Player of the Year? Tom Brady won MVP?
I
was trying to look it up just now.
I don't think they've announced it yet.
I don't think they've announced it yet.
Okay.
That's a separate conversation.
I will fight Tom Brady.
I think if they don't win this year, I do think they're going to struggle mentally going forward. I think the best chance is right now, and I would love to see Stafford get his Super Bowl ring. He really does deserve it. 10 years, it is pretty crazy, right? First round draft pick, took him 10 years to get to the Super Bowl. Then you got a guy who gets first round draft pick, his first full season makes it. So it's just it is going to be a very, very good game. I do think you have all the components to win. The only reason I think that the Rams would lose is his mental game. I mean, you have Cooper Kupp, you have OBJ who just picked it up. Like we said, he was dead as a Ram. Then he comes here and he's beasting it up. Yeah, defense is killing it. I mean, I think they have all the tools, and I don't see why they wouldn't win. They're a very good team right now, and me personally, it would be cool to see the Bengals win just because they haven't won it in a long time. But I don't think they should win. But a fun fact: did you know Von Miller was a poultry farmer?
No, but I'm not surprised. Chasing those chickens like Rocky, that just gets him all that agility.
He has a field of chickens and he lets them out to exercise.
No,
I love that. I love that.
Was his animal science teacher.
That's cool.
Yeah,
Von Miller's cool.
Yeah, she was like, I can't wait for the Super Bowl because I taught Von Miller. And I was like, what?
Hey, your thoughts from the Rams? Like, they're coming through the season, kind of doing what we kind of expect. Very exciting coaching staff. And then coming up at the deadline, we see what this front office is all about.
Right.
And made their additions. They went on that little slide, getting everybody together and taking it forward. So out of this year with the Rams, like organization as a whole, their players, what they're doing offensively and defensively, how have they impressed you? You think they would do what they would, or what stood out to you about them?
It's a great angle, to be honest, because I can get in about coaching again. I think whether it be the NFL, soccer, baseball, whatever, when you're managing a team full of stars, it's very, very difficult for them usually to win something. Because when talent doesn't work hard, for me, it never goes anywhere. Does that make sense? You always need that balance within squads, that blends, those type of players, your 3-star players. Do you get what I'm trying to say? We're going to give you that 7 out of 10 performance every week, right?
Right.
So the one thing I've been very interested with the Rams is how can they make all their star personnel fit and how do we see it on the field? So I think one of the great things that Sean McVay does, similar to Kyle Shanahan, is he manages to design these game plans around his stars. So if you can see when OBJ first went there, they almost force-fed him the ball, right? I'm sure something like his second throw to OBJ was picked off. I'm sure
I
it
couldn't
was.
believe
Right?
that throw.
Right off
I
the
was
bat,
like,
yeah.
Do you
Daddy.
remember it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But as we was moving forward, then we can see now Super Bowl time, OBJ, clutch, and he gives them great options. Do we take away Cooper Kupp? Do we take away OBJ? Do we stop Higbee? How do we stop Akers? Stafford can fling it all over the lot. So it's like when you can get this out on the field and we can see it through our eyes and it's materializing, it's just amazing to see, to be honest. So I've been really impressed with what the Rams have managed to do because they've got those pieces, but more importantly, they make it work when it comes Sunday. Just a quick one on Stan Kroenke, bro, because obviously I know we've got a couple of soccer fans in here, and I just, without going into it too much, if he manages to win the Super Bowl and he can get this brand popping and LA really get that football team, it's really, really going to come off big for him and all the credit to him. I just think this gamble really needs to pay off. He's got to get over the line. If the Rams was playing anybody else bar Cincinnati, I think the Rams would have a lot of juice in terms of public support. But I think because they're playing the Bengals, I think a lot of neutrals want to see Cincinnati win.
Good story.
Does that make sense for the story? So I think,
Yeah.
again, obviously it's a great story with the Rams, the superstars. They're all in. They're at SoFi. Do you know what I mean? And they've got it popping. So for the Rams franchise, I think this is a very, very important year. I do think they need to get it over the line, mate, to be honest.
That very, very interesting points. Both you and Don said that. Think they got to win.
Is Higbee going to be back? Is he recovered?
Is he back?
Yeah,
Sure.
he should be. They said he should be. He had a sprained MCL. No tears, no nothing. He should be back.
Okay.
We are expecting him to play. I mean,
Well-
honestly, but you notice that when he went out, our backup tight end was no slouch either.
No,
No,
definitely
right.
not.
AY,
I
he was
forget his
just as
name,
good,
but yeah.
and I can't remember his name, but he was on it. Like, saved the drive a couple times.
Was it something like Blanton or Blayton or something like that?
Something like that. I can't
It was
remember.
something like that,
his
right?
name.
Because I was doing the game live and I think I wasn't saying his name right. I'm sure it's something like Blanton or Blayton. I'm sure.
Yeah, it starts with a B. Yeah, because he did really well. It was like there was no transition between him and Higbee.
And Higbee.
That's
Yeah,
true.
right.
And that goes back to the magic word, right? Coaching.
Coaching and scheme.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Dude, I love coaching, man.
And then you've got
It's
those
so
pieces,
important.
right, Britt? You can blow it up because coaches, from experience, you are only as good as your players. You can have the best schemes in the world, but
Right.
you still need those pieces to execute. But it's like the Rams have the X's and the O's, and they've got the Jimmys and the Joes.
Right.
So they can overpower you. Like they can overpower you on offense, they can overpower you on defense, and they can overpower you in the trenches.
Yeah.
And then you've got McVay in his mind. So the Rams are one of the strongest teams in the NFL. I've had no doubt of that
Because
anyway.
they have it all. Because you can have
Right.
it the other way too. You can have
Right.
a team full of stars, but if you don't have the scheme
You're fucked,
to
right?
run it, like you're
Right.
having a whole bunch of great players who are just
Like Dallas. Dallas, that's a great example in
Just
my opinion.
cool
like,
for
I think-
fantasy.
Right.
Dallas is shit.
I don't know what
No,
happened
but
to
if-
them, man.
They
But, like,
are
if-
not that
No.
good. I
No,
hate how
Dallas-
we're
they're
going
not.
on
But
this.
But Bridge, you hear my point now, right? In my opinion, if they got rid of McCarthy, if they put Dan Quinn in as head coach, yeah, Yo,
Dan Quinn's
I-
hasn't
I-
he already
they would have more
had
of a
his
chance.
time
I don't even
around?
think it's them. I think Jerry Jones needs to step away. He just needs to be like a financial
Just-
front and just like let your head coach be the head coach.
You know,
You know, just because no matter what, he's always meddling in that pot, and you can tell because they're always talking about how this player is really big with Jerry Jones. You know,
And it
why
comes
is that?
from
Because
Jerry
he's in this
Jones.
story in the pot.
yeah.
yeah, it's not the papers building
Yeah.
up the Cowboys. It's Jerry Jones flipping
But-
out there, running his mouth, and everybody drinking the Kool-Aid.
There's
It
no,
can't be that good Kool-Aid. Like,
there's no,
can't be that
he can't be. It's got to be shit, right?
what's everybody
definitely.
drinking it though? Go to Texas. Tell me everybody ain't drinking Jerry Jones Kool-Aid, man. They are. It's annoying.
So am I right in thinking, obviously Dallas, surely they're one of the few teams in the league, right, to have no like GM or no middleman? Is it like Jones and McCarthy, and there's no
Yeah.
middleman? Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
He
Yeah.
does the GM too, and that's what he needs.
Yeah,
He
that's
needs
what I'm
to step
saying. He's
back.
the GM too, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well,
Just own the team, fund the team, and then fuck off. Let your coaches make
Yeah.
their decisions. Because
Yeah.
essentially he's losing everything for them, and the homeboy head coach is just a puppet, and he's gone.
Yeah, and I mean, check this out. With Jerry Jones, he one of the few that doesn't have a GM. Why he doesn't? Because he's told you that, hey, I've won Super Bowls with no GM, so why do I need one now? Another
Dude, it's been
thing,
like almost 30 years.
Dude,
people
it's
have
in Jimmy
Like, you
Johnson.
know what I'm
Yeah, dude,
saying?
freaking since
Yeah.
Jimmy Johnson, man.
Like, you might want to try something different.
and then
It
Trust me,
ain't
though.
working. It hasn't worked for 30 years.
Just-
You might want to
Yeah.
rethink some shit.
And then the
Yeah.
follow-up question, Jerry, if a GM had your record, would you fire him? And Jerry goes, 100%, he'd be gone.
It's you though, but you're the GM and you won't fucking
So
leave.
Yeah.
Get
fire
out.
yourself. You
And
would
you're a
fire
billion-
yourself,
and
but
you're a
gonna keep
billionaire,
yourself
right?
in the job.
Oh, yeah, that dude's rich.
Oh
What do you
God.
Right,
think?
let's
Crazy
not
rich.
say no, Donny, but you hear me? He's probably got a lot of yes men in that building who ain't going to tell Jerry Jones to put
Oh,
him in his
no.
place.
Oh
Yeah,
hell
definitely.
no, no,
Yeah,
dude.
that's what I'm saying.
That's a given, man.
That's a given. Yeah,
And
man.
Dude,
Well, I
it's not
mean,
even just a stadium. It's like
Right.
the town, everything around that stadium.
it's like
is-
a
Oh,
he
yeah,
cult.
runs the whole
It's
show.
literally
over
like
there.
a
Yeah, he runs
cult,
the show.
and it's scary. And I'm like, it's like a walking cult. It's like what the fuck?
Yeah.
They're like open about it, and I'm like, no.
Dude, they're way open about it. And to be fair, I thought Steven Jones, he's taken
Yeah, he's so.
a lot over, and the organization does seem to be running better. I still view, and I did not think of this Mike McCarthy, but it still feels like they're putting in puppet head coaches.
Trust me, I feel that. Oh, yeah.
Because look at your players. You have Zeke. We can argue about other ones. One we can argue about is Zeke Elliott and him being a top running back. What is
Well,
going
his
on
running back
with Zeke?
potential went down when McCarthy stepped in. I mean, Pollard, he kind of showed McCarthy that he was somebody to be reckoned with. And so they really are going to that tandem running back system. And that's unfortunate for Zeke. But I mean, I think all field annex was really what was hurting Zeke.
Yeah, I think if Zeke didn't have such a big contract, I think they would want to try and move him.
They can get something from him. I mean,
You think
it's
they
not
get
like he
something for him,
doesn't
right?
have potential to be that running back again.
Or a
Just
couple-
it's not
I
happening.
agree with that. I think he gets too much.
Cool. So on Sunday, yeah, I don't know if everybody's seen what they're going to be wearing, and Twitter, LA Rams put out what.
Oh, it's so nice.
Yeah,
What
boy.
the Rams are going to be
Wow.
wearing. Of course, why not? Why not use this one with Cooper Cup?
Yes, Cooper
Very,
Cup.
very nice uniform. You, Renee, as a LA Ram fan, what's your opinion of these unis? You like them? They feel
Oh,
like
they're
you're
nice.
near
Oh,
the
they're
back
so
of the
nice.
old
I
good old
wish they would
days.
run. I wish they would run with the old school one where it's just the blue horns on the side and that's it, and the numbers are blue. Those things are so sweet. But that's pretty close to it. I mean, I like them. I don't have a problem with them. Obviously, I've been looking for one, so
Yeah, right. So
One thing I also wanted to say about the Rams is they seem like a much more calm team than Cincinnati, right? You can tell those guys get flustered when stuff doesn't happen. But Stafford really has learned how to sit back
we're
and
close. Sorry.
see how the scheme's unfolding. He's not just throwing the ball like he was in Detroit, willy-nilly downfield trying to get those yards. He's playing with people who can run these routes. So he's always been good at throwing the ball. And so it's good to see that the players he's playing with are, they believe in themselves too. And they know when they're messing up, which you should get a little beat up when stuff happens wrong, but you can't let it get to you. And I think Cincinnati, they are a great team, but they're also a younger team. And so if they get in that spot, I don't think they have a chance to recover.
Yeah.
So speaking of the team that will be playing the LA Rams, representing the AFC and representing my beloved Buffalo Bills. Go Bills.
Oh God, you sound like they
Had
died.
to throw that out. Just had to mention them.
It's the Cincinnati Bengals.
Woo.
I haven't been on their back the whole year, so I know Ace and Donnie, you guys, even Renee, you've backed the Bengals a little bit. Ace, why don't you start off this season?
I'd love to.
Talk about the Bengals. What you've seen about them? Why are they so exciting?
It'd be very easy for me to say now because they're in the Super Bowl, but I know we've known each other now for about 7-8 weeks, and you know how much of a huge Cincinnati Bengals fan I actually am. Obviously, coming off winning 2 games and then I think 4 games the season after, then coming into this season, obviously Joe Burrow got murdered last year, with his ACL, absolutely disgusting. I thought when they missed Penei Sewell in the draft, I was like, okay, so they didn't draft a lineman, and now we're going to go with Jamar Chase. As soon as I see him coming out the draft, swaggered up, man, and I'm thinking, wow, look at the confidence on this guy. I'm already a huge Joe Burrow fan anyway, as soon as I've seen him in LSU in that season, because I do watch my college football. So I was just like, okay, optimism was quite high, but they're in such a strong division, and I'm such a Lamar Jackson fan, and I was like, for Cincinnati to do some danger this season, they're going to have to play really, really well. If the MVP vote was done properly, surely he would have a great shout to winning it now, guys. Because
a shout.
right, which I know we'll get there in a minute. Because that's what's frustrating me. Because Joey B might have started the season slow, but if you look at his body work over the season, surely he'd be a huge MVP candidate now. So Cincinnati are just a team that I think it just shows you when you get he's the definition of what you call a true number 1 pick. Like, that's what you want from your number 1 pick. Can you come in, change the franchise, lift us, and can you be that guy? And all the answers for Joey Burrow at the moment seem like yes. And you look at Cincinnati now and you think, these guys, it looks young, vibrant, amazing offense. They've got pieces all over the place. Shout out, like Mixon. We all know the players ain't got to go through them. But when you talk about a culture and a following, I just think, I don't know, they've lit the neutrals' imagination, Brits. Does that make sense? And I think people are looking at Cincinnati now totally different, and we know where the credit lies.
Right.
Oh, definitely. They're definitely going to have that different look going forward. Man, dude, 4 of the players over 1,000 yards. That's just crazy. Especially after, like you said, the injury. Like, I mean, some people don't come back from that. They're from going 31 years, not winning anything, and then never making the Super Bowl, right? And then all of a sudden, you win all the playoff games to make the Super Bowl. Like you said, it's a story in the making.
Right. Donnie, out of Cincinnati, you've seen over the course of the season, tough division. I mean, you're talking about running up with the likes of Lamar Jackson and Baltimore. You have what was last year very exciting Cleveland Brown team. Like, hey,
exactly. Loads of optimism with Cleveland at the start of the season.
Yeah, and
great points.
Then of course you still have Pittsburgh, who traditionally
Pittsburgh, right?
Yeah, they're Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Enough said. So it's like this is a hard division, and if they can go in, this would be very impressive. Their journey to do this impressive feat. How have you thought?
I mean, truthfully, I thought that, like you said, the Browns were gonna be the people to beat, and it just didn't happen. I mean,
because Baker Mayfield's a sober Johnny Manziel.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. I don't know if they got too cocky over the offseason and thought that he was the shit, but he did not play like it this year. And as far as Baltimore's concerned, Lamar Jackson, I still haven't. I know he's good, but he hasn't won me over yet. So, like I said, I mean, in Pittsburgh, like you said, traditionally, I mean, 15 years in a row they've made the playoffs. So, I mean, they're obviously a team you need to respect. But I think it just comes down to
somehow it didn't come to an end.
Yeah.
They have
they squeaked in, right? Somehow.
Yeah. So, I mean, they just had to give it to Big Ben just one more time, man. Just one more time. But I think it has to come down with tenacity. It's the willing, because I think Burrow could have taken him to the playoffs last year, but, he got hurt. So coming back and shit, because people were like, oh, man, he's gone. He's not coming back. And even if he does, it's just going to be another Cincinnati failure picking quarterback, And so just like tenacity really got him there. Like you said, Chase, man, those guys are just awesome. They're killing it. They move on all cylinders. They're young. They have something to prove, and they're all willing to prove it. Mixon, he's a good runner. He just seemed to kind of stagger midseason. But, I don't know if that's just something you do just because you don't want to put it all out there. Before you get
I know what you're saying. Yeah, not like playing it 100 mile an hour early in the season. You sort of building up to the
pace
moment,
yourself.
Right?
pacing
Yeah.
himself.
I think that's a good shout. That's a good shout.
So, but I think they've done what they need to do, and they've shown people what they need to show them. And if they don't win, I think they'll be right back to the same place next year.
Right.
Why
Yeah.
not? They're
Totally.
I mean, they're all under 25, so they all have potential to last for quite a bit of time.
Donnie, can I just hit you with that, guys, and everybody here? Just a quick one for me. Obviously, 32 teams, one winner. So, is the goal to win a Super Bowl, or is the goal like sustained greatness?
I mean,
Whoa.
yeah, you
I
want to
think
get
it's a little bit of both.
Yeah.
To
Do
be
you understand?
honest.
Do you understand what I mean
do.
by that? So, if you're the GM, are you thinking we want to just win one Super Bowl, or do we want to be AFC Championship material for the next 15 years?
If you're a player, you want the Super Bowl. If you're a franchise owner, you want the AFC Championship or NFC Championship year in and year out. Because, I mean, any given Sunday, it comes down to one game. So, getting there is harder than just winning the game, in my opinion. So,
It
I mean,
is.
you could have a fluke and then boom. So, I think it depends on who you are in the system.
Renee,
Good question,
you
though.
won and lost multiple in a row, gone through stages of playoff drought. What would you rather? Sustainability or just give me a Super Bowl? I know you already have.
Sustainability. I
you
mean,
have
I
one,
want.
so it's different.
I mean, I'd love to have a Super Bowl, another one. I get the method of the Rams are using to win now, build after. You've already started to build. They've already started that rebuild, and just adjusting this whole team. You win the Super Bowl, you have a chance to pull other people from other teams and build and do with that longevity. I think both teams either way will be able to do that here. If they win or lose, I think they're going to be right back to the playoffs. I think it just, I mean, obviously it depends on how the season goes and whatnot. I mean, just because you're good this year doesn't mean you're going to be good next year. So
Right.
God knows I've seen that one happen.
I would also go with. I know I'm just gonna follow the man Jim Kelly. He has said it, and if he can be square and he can be okay with it, so can I. He said he wouldn't change a thing about those years. So I'll take the sustainability over one Super Bowl because
I hear that.
of how fun and how amazing that time was. It would.
Do you know what it is,
If
Briggs?
you wouldn't have it because of a Super Bowl win and that's all you would have done, that was a big experience that would be taken away from those boys. And Jim, Thurman, Bruce, they all say the same thing. Like if it would change anything, I'm fine without the ring. It hurts, it sucks, but I wouldn't take one day away. So, if they can suck it up and they were in that moment, then, I'm going to follow them and I'll go with the sustainability. Definitely. But wonderful question there, Ace. Very good. Very good answers from all of us, too, I think.
So, it's just because it led naturally to think when Renee and Donnie pointed out that they think Cincinnati will be back next year no matter what. I just thought, and I like that sort of opinion because we can't put everything on getting a chip. It's like saying nobody gives a shit that Dallas won 3 Super Bowls 25 years ago because they've done nothing now for the last 25 years. No, but it's true. They're like,
man, you didn't come to
true
Texas.
though, right?
I'll tell you what, man.
You hear me though, right?
They're still talking about it.
They're still talking about it. So I'm like, okay then. But but what about now? And now we're in a society where we got it's 2022, so we go, what about now? Do you get me?
Right.
That's all people really care about. And when you lift the trophy, when somebody lifts the trophy Sunday, all we're going to be talking about next week is next season.
Getting ready.
Oh yeah, already.
Right? Do you
Right.
get what I'm trying to say? So we've got to take more from the process rather than the 10 seconds. That's just my opinion.
Right.
Anyway.
No,
So
I like
that's
it.
just me anyway.
And I think people get too caught up in the word, the process, because that's all you hear from management when things aren't going
Yeah.
well. Trust the process and blah, blah, blah. And yeah, it's cool when it works out, but it's a fan when it doesn't work out and you just keep on hearing trust the process. It does get annoying.
Totally no.
And even with this is the double-edged part of it. Even with the sustainability, there is that point where people will get looked at because they can't get the team over the hump.
Over the hump, right?
And there are people who will lose their job because they're not able to get over the hump. And like you're not going to stay at a job like those days of Marv Levy running that great Bills team and not winning a Super Bowl, him being at that job, those days are long gone.
It's like
Marv Levy would have been fired.
Right?
After the second one.
Yeah, I was to say 2 losses, you would have been gone. Yeah, no, there's no way.
We're sort of in this era now where we look. I'm not sure about you guys. I look at the Chiefs and I think the Chiefs have been one of, if not the strongest team now for the last 2, 3, 4 years. They've got one chip. Does that mean they're not great? Does that mean they're not great?
No.
They're good.
No, they're not great. They're okay. They're decent.
They're good. But
If you
I
want to
think
call,
that has to do with coaching.
Yes, if you want to say great, if you're going to say great, that's because of Andy Reid. Okay. He led the Chiefs and the Eagles to 4 consecutive NFC and AFC championships.
Right.
Dude's a beast.
But he's got. But the man's amazing, right? But he's only.
Yeah, he really is.
Got the win, you know. But I mean, that doesn't make his team great, though. That makes him great.
Renee, let's just say the Chiefs don't win anything now for the next 10 years, and we're all here in 10 years' time. Would we be comparing the Chiefs to the Patriots?
No.
I think that has to do with mindset, though. Like, it brings up a really good point because, like, you know, over here, it's you win or we forget about you.
Or we forget about you. That's
you don't matter anymore. If you can't win, you don't matter.
But like y'all coming from y'all's background, because all y'all seem, I know Renee and Britt are like diehard. That's my team, and that's that. And you seem like that kind of person too. And so I think that's what the NFL really needs is more people that say this is the organization that I like. And so it doesn't matter if we didn't win or we won or didn't win. We're getting to a certain place every year, and that's just showing our team progression. Because like you said, a win's a win, cool, but next week it's going to be forgotten about.
And
you got to keep going.
Yeah,
and there's just certain things that you want to see from your team. Like, do you want to see young players? Do you want to see people from your state? Do you get me? Do you want to see a certain type of things from your team? So yeah, man, I just think again in 10 years' time we won't be talking about the Chiefs as a great organization because they're going to be like 2 or 3 chips short. And I just think that's kind of sad, really, because at the moment we look at Mahomes, Kelsey, and Hill, and we're thinking these 3 on the field have been, you know what I'm saying? They've dominated the offensive side of the ball for the last 4 years. That's fair to say, right?
I mean, AFC Championship 4 years in a row. So.
Do you get me, Donnie?
They dominated the AFC, yeah. I mean, but no one's going to, I mean, yeah, they're going to rank that team just like they ranked those Bills teams that lost 4 straight Super Bowls.
Right.
But yeah,
but the
they'll
thing
be
is,
the Bills who won a Super Bowl.
Trust me.
All the Kansas
that's literally what it's. I mean, the Chiefs have all the talent in the world, and they are very talented. My God, they are good, but I don't think they sustain it. Once Andy Reid goes, I think the whole organization's going to drop.
And I think
because he's not going to coach forever. But the thing is, I mean, it shows you how heavily they rely. Obviously, you're meant to rely on your head coach, but how heavy they rely on Andy Reid to carry that organization, essentially. And then it essentially goes to Mahomes and Kelsey and goes down the line. What are they going to do in 10 years' time? Because I guarantee you, in 10 years, Andy Reid will not be coaching the Chiefs. He will be retired. Right. And where will they be then? What's the next team that's going to step up? Is it going to be the Bengals? Is it going to be the Bills? Is it going to be who? Is it going to be the Patriots? I mean, Mac Jones has had a good season. The kid made it to the Pro Bowl his rookie year.
It could be a plethora of different.
Yeah, but the thing,
too.
I was going to say,
I didn't even pay attention to any of that. I have no
All right,
time.
so talking about the Pro Bowl. So
Right.
instead of the Pro Bowl, what do you guys think about the 2 worst
Worst
teams?
teams playing for the first round draft pick. Absolutely down.
Boom. It would be
I
so
Dude,
heard
much
that.
better game to
absolutely
watch.
for it. Oh, dude, I would totally
Right?
watch that. To
Is
watch
that
two
what-
shitty teams.
No,
Whose
that's what the
idea
Pro
is that?
Bowl
Is-
should.
It's a brilliant
Whose idea was that?
Whosever
That's a
idea it was.
brilliant
I did
idea.
it
I
really
haven't
is.
heard that.
Yeah.
That's a brilliant idea.
Honestly,
That's
and I
a
think
brilliant
more
idea.
people would actually like get into
Enjoy
this.
it.
Oh,
Yeah,
know what I'm
because that
saying?
means you
Yeah.
earned it. That means you earned that
Yeah.
draft pick. So you
What
have
a
to
shame.
win. You have to
yeah.
win the game. There's no tie. Like you got to play.
Right.
Donnie, that's
Oh,
the best thing. That's the best. Sorry, Renee. Carry on.
Oh man, that'd be great. Oh, there's
Yeah,
pause.
because I mean, you remember like 2 years ago when the Eagles pretty much threw that last game?
Oh, fuck that.
So-
I hate it, man. I can't
Yeah,
stand
so
it.
they could get that draft pick. So it's just,
Yeah.
come on, it would stop stuff like that.
Is that when they drafted
Pretty much.
the fuck, what's his name?
Hurts?
Wentz?
Guys,
Wentz? No, that was like a year after that. Because that first
Oh.
year they drafted Wentz, I thought they won the Super Bowl, right? Because he won it all out, and then he
Nick
got hurt. and
Foles
then
won the
Foles-
Super Bowl.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Sonny.
Wentz got him there.
What's up, man?
is it? Do you know the idea you just said? Is that American narrative at the moment? Is that what people are talking
It's-
about? Because
it's
I
been
haven't
talking-
heard that at all. And
They've been
that's the
talking
idea.
about it on
That's the winner.
like the
That's the winner.
ESPN a little bit, just kind of whispering
okay.
here and there. They're trying to change. They want to see if they can change it because nobody really likes the Pro Bowl. I mean, because
No
you're
one
not really
cares.
playing.
No.
It's more just a fashion show for the players, and they get paid out, and it's cool to say that I was a Pro Bowl player.
Yeah, they get a
Right.
free
It's
vacation.
a stat on your record. But I mean, other than that, I mean, it shows no purpose, and I think that the NFL itself would make more money if they did it that
Yeah.
way.
No, I think.
Yeah.
Do you know what? For all the great things you've said there, mate, and that's the best thing I've heard. Honestly,
Thanks,
I
man.
think that's an amazing idea. No, it really is. But then it stops. We cannot get teams deliberately losing to have a number one draft pick. End of story. Ruins the integrity of the game. That's bottom line for me. I don't care who you get. If you are deliberately losing, it fucks up the integrity of the game. So to have two teams fight it out, at least then we stop all that bullshit, and we're not open to more corruption, which is what we don't need. That's a brilliant idea, man. That needs to happen for sure. Yeah, man. Because as you just said,
take
the
a whole
problem,
bunch of games, right? And then all of a sudden, you've got to win this game now.
you've got
But
to get the pick.
You have no
Yeah.
scheme, you have no identity, you have nothing. But now, in
Trust
order to
me.
get that first round pick that you tanked
That's a
for,
great idea.
now you got to play and go win a game.
Also,
to be able to get it.
also
great
with
idea.
these teams, dropping games on purpose to get that first round draft pick.
I
Yeah.
hate it,
I hate
Renee.
it. Yeah.
I
hate
absolutely
it, man.
think it's absolutely hilarious when they get that first round draft pick and they go to absolute
Oh.
shit. They are
Oh.
not
They
anywhere. That's
can't
what
even
you get.
draft right.
That's what you get.
Justice.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
hell
but
yeah.
I think you play. If
Yeah.
you're dead at, I'd rather watch a team go 2-14 or whatever they go. Trying to win a game and they just suck.
Yeah.
That
Right,
I can
Renee.
get, but
Right.
but to watch these men who get paid millions of dollars that a lot of us would kill for
Trust me, don't.
lose on purpose, and I'm like,
Gosh,
honestly,
man.
find them. Honestly, at this
Renee.
point, the NFL's finding them because fuck that.
That
Damn.
That's why if we if Miami get found guilty of this, I'm watching and then I watch Miami next season. How can I trust with my eyes what I'm seeing? Like these players are playing fully out to win the game. When I know last season that might not be the case, I can't get over it, bruv. I just can't. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that, and I mean, credit, man. They went on that run.
They did, but that was
They
defensive
almost made,
run.
but
Yeah,
they
it was
right.
almost
Yeah.
made it, man.
They
I mean, the
almost
fact that
made it.
and then their head coach getting fired for no reason.
Which was
I couldn't
ridiculous,
believe
right?
it.
Blow my mind. I'm like,
fired.
this man had almost a near winning season, and you fire
But-
him.
Yeah,
But
he
we
had
know now-
confidence
we
in
know-
Tua and the players. They played for him.
They
and
played
then
for him.
They won you 7 on the trot. You were down. You started off
You
1-7. You win all these games, and
Trust me.
you're a really you're probably 2 games. You're probably 2 games away
From making the playoffs.
Making the playoffs.
Right. But that's where you can tell, Britt. I love it that he obviously
1-7.
exactly. And you can tell obviously Brian Flores has told him to go and fuck himself.
Oh,
and
man.
the team have obviously gone, all right, then we'll show you. And I love that. That's how it needs to be.
Yeah. like,
Do you know what I mean?
I'd love to see what happens out of this, because if this is true,
I hope
however,
it isn't, man.
however, whatever level it is, all those people on up, like, I know the NFL and whatever, you can't make somebody sell. You figure out a way
No,
to do it,
you,
because you
Brit,
cannot have the integrity of your game under
Right.
question and under
Right.
scrutiny.
I think that's to do with
Because
fan base.
it's
So you have to
more
boycott
than a
merchandising
game,
and buying
man.
tickets and stuff
Right.
like that.
But you said make Ross like they've done in the NBA. Like if this owner is found guilty, you've got to force him to sell, and then do what Donny said. Put in also the change. You get rid of Ross, and then put that in with in terms of the teams playing for a draft pick. That is brilliant, because we don't want it to happen again. We can't have that happen again. It can't happen again, man.
I mean, for a great game we're looking forward to
Trust
have
me.
all this
Bullshit
crap
over.
going on,
Yeah, man.
that, I mean, you can't talk about the game without bringing some of this stuff up. And, like, this is the biggest game of the year, and on a lot of radio shows throughout the country and throughout the world talking about this big game coming up, there's always a mention of everything that's going on. And this is not the good stuff. This is not what the NFL wants. So I hope, as an organization, that the NFL and the owners get together and say, and finally do something about one of their own. Like, police yourself, finally actually do it instead of protecting them. And because the owners run the league in the NFL, and I don't like that at all. And this is part of the reason, because they're not holding themselves accountable. They all go out to lunch and dinner at expensive ass restaurants every single week.
Well, it's the money basis
Look
system,
at the
right?
boxes that they sit in. And every stadium has an owner box and a visiting owner box and big old corporate. Like, these men have to be held accountable for their shady dealings, because it's a bad look. They think they had problems with this, and then so the fan will go, there's always some controversy surrounding the NFL. For the past 10 years, like, we've been dealing with stupid stuff. The NFL cannot police its own and get out of its own way and properly take care of situations that pop up.
Well,
It's
it
just
can't,
another
right? Because
ongoing. They won't. They refuse to. It's like,
well, it's because they have
right?
a head. They have a head over all of them, the commissioner and all that stuff, the NFL. But
Appointed by the
it's a
owners.
non-profit organization, so they're each run by their own franchise system. So they really don't have the right to govern these teams because they don't put themselves in that kind of situation, And of course, the fan base has been dwindling for years. What's your opinion, Renee?
I said pretty much everything, so I'm just gonna let that one be.
Okay.
Before we get on to the final, like, what we think, Renee, do you have any last thoughts on the Bengals? Nope. Other than what you said? Cool. All right. Well, this is what they're going to be marching out onto the field with.
Ooh,
very slick black. One thing about them that I'll say, like, because I've put faith in this team before, been like, hey, maybe this team can do it, and dude, they just screw you over. Be it fantasy, all right, you can trust the Bengal player. Then once you believe in them,
I don't know. Chase helped me.
Bloop.
Chase helped me win the Super Bowl this year.
Like,
so, I mean,
this Bengal team is definitely better than the other ones, and definitely different. So the final, man. Ace, why don't you lead us off here, man? What are you expecting to see on Sunday? And what's those final two numbers when the clock's hit all zeros? What's that scoreboard look like?
We'll
start a kickoff.
Okay, I've got to give it my best here then. What I am worried about is the defensive line for the Rams. It causes so much threat off the edge and up the middle. It causes huge protection issues for quarterback. Do we slide it this way? Do we slide it this way? Who are we watching? Do we double team Donald? Do we double team Floyd? Have we got to watch Von Miller off the edge? So we know that's where the game might be going. I think this is a story in a case that a lot of people could build up. Joey Burrow obviously has been sacked a lot of times, like 9 times in 2 games ago, but only once in the following game. So you could suggest that the offensive line, hopefully they might be able to get it right for this game. I can see Joey B running for his life, though, to be honest, Britt. And I can see he's going to need to make a lot of plays on the run. Rams going into this game, are they going to take away the passing game and force them to run the ball? Is Mixon going to be productive? We will see. I expect the game to be very, very tight and cagey for the first quarter. I don't expect it to be an offensive explosion to start with. Okay. That's what I think, to be honest. I think we'll be going into halftime and we'll be looking forward to the halftime show because I think it'll be just one of those tight games. Then I'm hoping the third and fourth quarter we come alive. This is just talking realistic, Brit.
Right.
Obviously, I'd love the game to be 45-49. But if I'm really honest, I think it's going to be a close one. And do you know what? I won't be surprised if it's on the leg of Evan McPherson. Let's see if he gets it done. So I'm going to go with, to be honest, I think the Rams are going to get it done. I think they're going to squeeze it. That's my heart. So that's my head saying it, to be honest. I think the Rams, I'm going to go with the Rams 25-22 by a field goal, but I hope the Bengals do it, mate.
But your mind, like if you got to go to the book, you're going Rams.
If I'm honest, yeah.
Hey, that's well put. Renee,
What?
talk us through this.
I wonder where she's going.
What you?
I don't know, man. I've been trying to think how this is gonna go. I don't know. Like he said, it's gonna be cagey. I think the first whole half is gonna be really dicey between these two. I think a lot of special teams is probably gonna be a big factor in this for both teams. You give the Rams any kind of room to run, they're gone.
Right.
They have OBJ back there, someone back there with hands and feet. They're gone. I think either side will do it. I do think that our defensive line is going to give their offensive line one hell of a game.
Okay.
I think Burrow is going to panic between Von Miller and Aaron Donald, and someone else is going to come get him. I think also, with that being said, I think he's going to make a big mistake. Much like what Garoppolo did at the very end of the NFC Championship game, they were going to force him to make a mistake. I think is he good? Yes. Do I think he's absolutely capable of making a game-changing mistake? Absolutely. And I think the Rams' defensive line is going to, if it plays the way it's supposed to, it's going to control this game.
Yeah, it's going to control.
I think, and with that being said as well, you give Matty Stafford good field position and it's a relaxed environment, guess who's going to tear you up? Mm-hmm. It's going to be OBJ. It's going to be Cooper Kupp. It's going to be Akers. It's going to be all kinds of stuff all over the place. And we're going to blow it wide open if we played this right. With the score being said, I think it's going to be 35-30. Rams.
Another tight.
Yeah,
yes,
one score.
I think it's going to be a very close, unless somebody fucks up.
Yeah.
Honestly, I mean, fingers crossed it ain't us, but I mean,
I've
lived through enough of this crap with this team, this organization. So, almost 30 years later, again, I don't know. I think it's gonna be a good game though.
Donnie.
Like I said, I think it's going to be but if you notice my hashtag, you'll see predictions, Homer Simpson predictions. So it's going to be 31-34 on field goal. Cincinnati.
You're going with that.
No, I think Cincinnati's going to play a lot of zone coverage, man, because I think the offensive side, the Rams are too good to play man-to-man. They're going to get burned out if they play that way. So I do think it will be a heavily defensive game. I do think that Cincinnati does have a better potential to mess up just because of the defensive line of the Rams. But I do think it's going to be a hard-fought game. I do think later on in the game there is going to be some breakaways, though, because those players are going to be playing hard and fast, and so they are going to get tired, and you are going to see some of that fatigue coming on.
It's a great shot.
But I do think it's going to be a close game. I think it is going to be a field goal win. We've seen it all playoffs. I mean, field goals have been winning these playoff games left and right, so why stop the train now? But I feel like if I'm going to say it. Cincinnati's going to win.
Oh, no, you're not going to say what you want. And then
Joey B,
we're
baby.
really happy.
And
Oh.
the Rams will have 31. I'm sorry, Renee. I hope we're still
No,
friends after this.
I hope you're
Oh,
right,
you're
son.
not
I hope
sorry. You're
right.
not sorry.
I hope you're
No,
right.
I'm not.
Say
Not at
that,
all.
so don't lie to me.
Oh man.
I just think they're both really good teams. I just think the
Ah.
Simpsons will be right for too many things that are just weird. They predicted it. I don't know. Who would have thought Cincinnati Rams in the Super Bowl?
Who they?
Oh man.
But-
Not them.
I agree with
Sorry.
I agree with you a lot, man. I think it is going to be very, very cagey. I think the beginning of this game is going to take us back to that old classic Bama LSU 6-9. But
You would pick the damn game where Bama lost. Thank you.
well, hold on.
Appreciate your
It
bullshit.
was a very important game. We
You're
got
just mad because Buffalo Bills have been out for weeks.
no.
Right now, so I'm getting it taken out on. Okay.
No, well,
That's cool.
later that year, we got to see that game all over again.
Yeah, for the national
And-
championship, we
yeah.
blanked in 21-0. That don't
All
mean shit.
right, there we
Don't
go.
make it up to that crap by you just dragging my teams through the mud.
So, but I think then we start. I think the second half the third quarter will slow transition because I think coming out of the gate, they'll have their adjustments ready, but I don't think they'll apply the adjustments right away. I think both coaches, they'll try to stick to their original game plan because it will be tight. It will be cagey. So I think they'll be like, hey, there's not really much we need to change. We're still right in it. And both of them will feel that way. And they'll keep on going probably midway through the third quarter. And then one of them's going to be like, now's the time. We're going to break this wide open. And they're going to be right. And I think that is going to be Sean McVay and the LA Rams. Because I really like what Sean McVay does. And how this team is.
He's a savant for sure, man. In his
Yeah,
field.
man, he's a great coach.
The LA Rams and that coaching staff, I mean, he's going to lose 2 or 3 of his coaches in the offseason. Sean McVay will. Like, that's how the quality of men he has on his coaching staff. Which
I
is
think we
another
are
reason-
for sure losing one.
Yeah.
He will coach in the Super Bowl. I think he's offensive
Yep.
coordinator, I believe.
Oh, shoot.
And he's going to coach the Super Bowl, and then he's out. I forget where he's going, but he's.
Oh, yeah. He interviewed for somebody last week, I think.
Right.
I know you talk, or this week.
Yeah,
He
something
got
like that.
criticism for it on a show. I heard it. Yeah, you're right, man.
Yeah, so, and which goes back to the whole mentality and what this team has set it up to do, to win now. So, and I think, hey, we're going to have to win now, especially for these players, but these coaches, what they built, what they did this year, because a lot of them are going to be moving on to take an opportunity because they're not getting McVay's job. Like, you're not getting McVay's job, so no reason to stick around. If you want to go get a head coaching job and they've approached you, I'm sure you have Sean McVay and the management office full support. Go get it. So,
Is it the Vikings? Is that who?
Yeah. Yeah.
Is
The
it?
Vikings? Yeah,
Yes.
I think he's going to the Vikings.
It's the Vikings. As soon as you said it, you're right.
Yeah.
okay, nice shot, Don. Well
Yeah.
done. Well done. And
My local CVS has a Vikings fan. We gossip every day
Oh,
about it.
okay. Oh, it's insider information. Nice. But then I think they have the potential to open it up. So in the end, I think the Rams will tack on a little bit at the end and make it a 2-score game. Let's go 45-30.
Damn.
Dang, high
Whoa!
scoring game,
Damn.
dude.
Oh,
Dude.
damn. I'm like, dude, I'm a Rams fan, and I'm like, damn. All right. Shit.
Okay,
Right.
okay, Bruce.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
Can I take the under on that one or shoot?
Yeah, I was gonna say, man, slap
Damn.
some dollars on it, bro.
It's going to open up, and
I
it's
like the
gonna
general
end up-
consensus reaction to his call. I was like,
Yeah,
ah, god damn, dude.
it's going to end very exciting.
You had to throw some sugar on that one for all that shade he was
Right.
throwing on you
Trust
earlier.
me.
I know.
Yeah. No, it'll,
Damn, that's
it'll
okay.
be
He's
good.
gonna come
right?
upstairs at some point.
right?
Yeah,
Dude,
If he has a black eye, he hit the doorknob. I'm just
right.
kidding.
he fell. I don't know what
He
happened.
fell. Didn't you fall? But
Yeah. Awesome. So yeah,
we
man,
practiced this in the
we're
car.
gonna be all looking forward to this Sunday. And I say, Ace, if you think you'll be free, I know it's really, 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 really late or really early, depending on how you look at it. For you, really appreciate you jumping in with us, and if you're going to be available to
I've loved it, bro. I
meet
wish you would have
back
told
up.
me earlier in the season. I didn't even know till the last show.
Dude,
I'm gutted, man.
I know, dude, I
I
was
know,
like,
Renee. Trust
why
me.
didn't I think about this earlier, man? Because we've
This
been
is why I
on
carry the
another
brain.
show before, so it was like, dude, I'd like
I'm
to.
just kidding.
I should have got him
Nice. You
on
had
the
really good
show.
insight, man. I think this is a good panel.
Yo, thank you very much. I wouldn't just say, as I said before we went on the show, I love doing what I do, and I love getting on with guys and guys and girls, of course, that love talking NFL and just love it the same as me. And you can tell it comes out like that hour shot by. It wasn't as if it was a grind, right? And I've really enjoyed the show. I mean, it's 3:30 in the morning here, but Britt,
Uh,
I'll be here for you anytime, man. Trust me, I'm ready.
dude, that dude, that's awesome.
That's
That is
dedication right there,
awesome.
man.
Yeah, man, that's dedication right there, man.
And
Trust me.
and real quick, because mostly with like my connections and the people who I know, they're gonna most of them are a lot of them are American, especially like my social medias outside of Twitter, because my following on Twitter is across the pond, like
Yeah, yep,
100%.
Yeah,
yep.
yeah.
But like a lot of people I know and I talk about over here. um so you've been a fan for like you say 15 years.
Right.
So we'll wrap up this episode with this: the growth of this game that we live in this country. Like, the NFL is religion in this country.
Right.
Every person grew up around a high school football field. High school football, almost everywhere you go in this country, it's the biggest thing in that town. And then
Right.
college football, it's on another level. And and you know that because you watch college football. So for the American viewers, a lot would say, man, we felt like we're shoving a game down
No.
people's throats that
No,
they
no,
have
no.
no desire for this game. So, tell us why that's wrong and the growth, what you've seen in the NFL over there across the pond, and how excited we as American fans should be that
Oh,
we
that it's
have this
growing here.
following growing over
Oh,
there. Why should that
okay.
matter to us? Why is that exciting? And
First,
tell us
do,
why it's so cool to have that.
first of all, Brit, like I think in 2007, like when I was 20 years of age, I lived in Santa Barbara for 2 years. So because I was playing soccer at Santa Barbara City College. My grades wasn't good enough to go to a 4-year college, so I needed to go there. Anyway, long story short, that's when I really first got into football, NFL, American gridiron football, right? So my love of it really come from there, and that's where I really understood the culture. So obviously, I'm very hip hop influenced, and I was a big WWE fan as well. So I think the WWE and the NFL and that hip hop merge over here when it boomed in the 90s and the early 2000s. I think that's when people my age, like say 40 and under, they really started getting into it then. The exposure over here with Sky Sports, obviously Sky, the biggest network over here by a million miles. Rupert
The
Murdoch, who
world.
also who owns Fox as well. I
Right.
think as soon as Sky have took the NFL seriously and we start getting people like Jeff Rainbow, for instance, absolutely incredible. Like Jeff's coverage is amazing. One thing I alluded to with Donny before I come on, it's no point English guys just talking about the NFL. It gives them no credibility. So I think one thing that Sky have done well is they've brought a lot of experts or a lot of pros in, and it's just developed the knowledge and the understanding further. One of the things that I think they do very well now is not just talk to the fan as if they are dumb or as if they don't know the game. So I think we sort of elevating now from sort of like a baby-fed drip culture, what we first had, to now they're giving us a lot more meat and the middle stuff. Does that make sense? So the culture's growing around it. The understanding of the game's growing more. When you guys come over to London, the London games are having a big impact here also. Also, just one thing before I finish. The early time zones help. I mean, obviously, there's some games that are on at crazy o'clock, right? But on a Sunday, the 6 p.m. window here has been perfect. So I think 6 o'clock here on a Sunday has given the NFL massive exposure over the last couple of years. So now they've moved that time zone forward. I think that's been one of the crucial reasons it's on at a more reasonable time.
Yeah, and you say the coverage has gotten better.
Absolutely.
Like with Sky.
With Sky and stuff, obviously, people like Osia Minora is great. People like Jeff Reinbold, great. That's who we see over here on our TV now.
Right. Yeah.
Whereas 15, 20 years ago, I'm not going to mention his name, actually, because he follows me on Twitter and I like him. But it's very, let's put it this way, it's very, very white, very tea and crumpets, very British, very playing on the stereotypicals of what they think a British person is. Now, the NFL, we know the game isn't like that. It's high octane. It's in your face. It's very loud. It's very aggressive. It's very pumped. There's a whole culture around the tailgating before the games, after the games. We're talking each game's 3.5 hours long. So it's an event in itself. Right. Now, when that's embraced, British people are all over it now. Whereas before it's a problem because it's on late and then the adverts and shit like this, man. So they've managed to balance that out very well now, Brit. I will say that. So I think these are some of the main reasons why the game's growing here.
No, yeah, I like that, and I especially like Coach Jeff, who you mentioned, because he's had experience over there. He coached Ryan Fire. I believe he was their special teams coordinator when NFL Europe was over there. Of course, over here we know him in the college ranks. He coached in CFL for quite a bit of teams. So that's a very nice get for them, and it's good to see them going after people
that type of quality, yeah,
with experience and who know the game, like the magic word, coaches. Why not go get a coach? And why not go get a special teams coach, right? Like, those are your gems right there. But, dude, awesome. Once again, thank you for joining us. Any last thoughts, Don?
No, man. I'm just glad we're getting some more exposure, and it's always good having different people's opinions. I'm really digging what we've cultivated and we're starting to cultivate right here.
No,
so
me too.
I'm having fun, and I hope everybody's enjoying it. That's all I can say.
Yeah, man. It's been a great show. Loved it.
Anything last for the people, Renee?
Go Rams.
Of course,
go Rams. Let's go Rams.
So, everybody, thank you for joining us. Hey, if everything works out, we'll have the same panel here. Since we brought you what we thought about the Super Bowl, we'll all step up and we'll eat what some of us might have been wrong about.
Yeah, we might have to eat one.
we'll sit there and we'll eat our crow, man. But, at least 3 of us won't be eating our crow next week. So, y'all enjoy. Once again, thank you for joining us on FTB Sports.
Y'all have a good one.
This is Through the Table. We'll see y'all next week. Bye.
Thanks.